Hey everyone, this is Heather Collins with Young and Savvy Genealogists, and today I'm finishing our Genetic Genealogy Simplified series. So this is going to be the last part, at least for now, and today I'm going to be giving an introduction to GEDmatch.com, talking about who can use it and why you should think about using it, where to start, and how to use the basic tools that they offer. So the three main tools that I'm going to be talking about today are the one-to-many match list, the one-to-one analysis, and the admixture. So when you first click over to GEDmatch.com, you have to register, and then once you do that, this is the page that you're going to see. And there are a couple different options here that you have to start with first. I'll call your attention over here to the file uploads, and as you can see, anyone who has taken a family tree DNA, a 23andMe, or an Ancestry DNA test is able to upload their results here to this website. And there are a couple of really good reasons why you should consider doing that if you've taken a test with one of these companies. When you take a test with any one of these companies, the matches that you're going to see, first of all, are limited to the people that have taken a test with that company. So I took my test with Ancestry DNA, and so when I go to Ancestry DNA and I view my list of cousin matches, the only people that are ever going to be on that list are people that have taken the Ancestry DNA test. Or you can upload your results to GEDmatch.com for free, and you can compare your DNA results to every other person who has uploaded their results to this website. And those people include people from all three testing companies. As a result, my match list is going to reflect users from each of the testing companies, and it's like taking 3 DNA tests for the price of one. Once you register and you get started and you upload your results, you usually have to wait about 24 hours to have them process your match results. And then what that means is they've compared your DNA results to every single person that's in their database. And then they're going to be able to give you your own match list specific to GEDmatch.com. To access that list, you want to scroll down on that homepage and you want to look at the blue Analyze Your Data box. And then in the DNA Raw Data box right here, you want to click on One-to-Many Matches. That's the first tool we're going to look at. After you've waited the 24 hours and you get a confirmation email from GEDmatch saying that they've processed your DNA results, they're going to give you a kit number. And the kit number is going to start with a letter and then usually have about 5 to 6 digit numbers that come after it. So that's going to be your kit number. It is what allows you to access your unique DNA results. Most people that are using this are going to keep it here on autosomal, which is the test that analyzes 22 of your 23 chromosomes. I like to leave this at 7. I think that's a good matching threshold. So you can put it down to as low as 6 or 5. Keep in mind that there's going to be quite a few false positives at that threshold, and your list is going to take longer to load. And then you're going to see this page. This is your one-to-many match list. And so every person that has uploaded DNA results to GEDmatch.com that matches you is going to be on this list. And if your list is anything like mine, this list, if you printed it out, would be somewhere between 20 and 30 pages long. So you've got this list of matches, and there's only a couple of pieces of information here that you need to focus on right now when you're getting started. The first one is all the way over here on the left, and it's the kit number. So for each individual person here, you see that you've got their name or the name of the person who was tested, or initials, or a username, whatever people feel like comfortable sharing. And then this kit number corresponds to whoever this match is. So my first match here, this is his kit number. The second thing you want to look at is over here in the autosomal column, and you've got total centimorgans and largest centimorgan segments. So this female match down here that I have says that my total centimorgans that I share with her is 39.4, but the largest one that I share with her is 33.9. So why is there a difference here? Because I probably match her on more than one chromosome, or on the same chromosome in more than one place, And so the largest place where I match her is 33.9, but the total amount of, regardless of what chromosome it's on, all of the DNA that I share with her is 39.4. And so you've got some matches where that number will be the same, you've got some matches where it'll be different, and the only way that you're going to be able to tell what's going on there is to do a one-to-one analysis. You know, which chromosome do you match this person on? You see that that's not on this list. That's because for each individual person, you have to do a one-to-one analysis, and that's where you're going to get that information. One suggestion that I would make when you're first getting started is to make a copy, a hard copy of this match list. GEDmatch is run by a couple of volunteers who do this from the goodness of their heart and out of their own pocket. You know, it's a relatively small operation still, so when a lot of people are using this website and it gets busy, things slow down or things don't load, or sometimes even the website crashes. And this match list, because it's so large, is one of the first things that either just won't load or won't work. So if you can make your own copy of this to work from, that way you don't have to keep coming back to this on the website when you're using it, that's not only going to help you, but it's going to help the traffic on the website to stay lower. So the way that you can do that, you can either print this list, or you can right click, go to print, and then once your print options come up, you're going to change your printer to save as PDF. So a second pro tip, when you're on this page, this one-to-many list, you've put your number in and you've got it loaded, do not click the back button on your browser when you're on this page. If you do that, you will not only cause the website to crash for yourself, you will never actually make it back to the home page. So if you want to go back, the back button is not the way to do that. You want to use the address bar, type in GEDmatch.com, and go back to the home page that way. In order to get the more specific match information about the match, you have to do a one-to-one comparison. So kit number 1, you can put yours in. Kit number 2, grab a kit number off of that list. Go ahead and put it in there. As you're getting started, I would actually recommend that you turn on the graphic bar for each chromosome. So instead of no, put yes. And what that'll help you to do is to physically show you what a DNA match looks like. And as you get these match results for these people, you want to start recording your results. So think about this as a science experiment, and you are gathering data for your experiment. All right, so when you gather data in a science experiment, you don't just look at the information and then forget you ever saw it. You write it down, you record it, and then you track it. And that's what you're going to start to do with this DNA one-to-one analysis. You want to use a spreadsheet software like Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets or whatever type of software that you like to use that will create a sortable table. So the one-to-one analysis, when you perform it, this is what it's going to look like. If you have the chromosome graphics turned on, these bars are going to show up. And if you look down here where you see the blue bar with the yellow and the green right here, this is what a DNA match looks like on the one-to-one analysis. And so for this individual, I match them on chromosome 3. When we measure DNA segments in genetic genealogy, we measure those segments in centimorgans. It's the duration of this segment. And this one is 19.6. The SNP or SNP count that you see right here, this basically is talking about the density of the genetic material that matches here on this segment. And so as you're matching, you're going to constantly be looking at these two numbers together, the centimorgans and the SNPs. But as you're working through your match list and you do these analyses for each individual person, there's some information that you should be recording in your spreadsheet. You want to have a column for name. You want to have one for probably contact information, the chromosome number that you matched the person on, the segment length, and you want to have a column for the SNP count, and you want to be keeping track of all that information. Set each one of those things up in a different column in an Excel spreadsheet, and just start plugging in all of that information for all of your different matches. Now you're creating this new match list in Excel or whatever your program is, and it's a list of your analyzed matches. So how is this list going to help you? How is this going to help you to make genealogical discoveries or to figure out who the common ancestor is that you share with this cousin match? You want to figure out, say that I have a cousin match and I'm looking at somebody on my list and I want to figure out how they're related to me. The first thing that I need to figure out is if they're related to me on my mom's side or my dad's side. So what that's going to do is instantly cut in half the number of potential ancestors that could possibly be for me. While I do have, if you look over here, I have 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, or 16, 2 times great-grandparents. If I think about my matches in this way, I'm trying to find the person that me and this cousin are related to, and these are the number of people that it could possibly be. So if I think that, someone in my match list shares, a 3 times great-grandparent with me, that could potentially be one of 32 people, because that's how many 3rd times great-grandparents I have. Anything I can do to narrow this number, this 32, down is going to help me to figure out who our common ancestor is. And so the first step that I can take is to determine, do they match me on my mom or my dad's side? And that's instantly going to cut this number in half, because half of my 3 times great-grandparents come from my mom's side and half of them come from my dad's side. So what happens is, that goes from 32 potential people to 16. All right, that's a little bit more manageable of a number. The easiest way to sort this out, to figure out, is it my mom or my dad's side, is to have one of your parents tested. Having your parents tested is one of the most important steps that you can take in terms of making genetic genealogy easier to do. Having them tested is almost more important than having yourself tested. If you're an adoptee and you don't have that option, I'm not saying that this is impossible. I'm just saying it's going to be harder and it's going to take a lot more work. Once you narrow it down to, mom's side or dad's side, let's say that I'm looking at a cousin and I know that they're related to me on my mom's side. Now what do I want to do? I want to start working my way back in the number of generations to figure out, okay, how many generations ago is the shared ancestor that I have with this cousin match? So like on the previous slide for the one-to-one analysis, it was like 19.6. That number is going to help you trace back how many generations you have to go to find the common ancestor that you share with this person. The other tool that people like to use on GEDmatch, and when they think of a DNA test, this is usually what goes through most people's minds. They think of that map with the colored circles on it that tell them what countries their ancestors come from. So like on Ancestry DNA, you look at your admixture, and it's the map that tells you, oh, you have ancestors that come from Ireland and Germany and, Africa, and it puts the big colored circles on the map to break down your ethnicity for you. That's an admixture. GEDmatch.com has the capability to analyze that. They have a couple of different utilities that you can use. In order to access those, you need to go back to the home page, go back to that Analyze Your Data blue box, scroll down to about the 4th or 5th option right here. There's Admixture Heritage, and there's Admixture with Population Search. So if you want to see all of the admixture utilities that are available, you want to go to Admixture Heritage, and this is the menu that's going to pop up. You're going to have a drop-down box right here, and it'll allow you to pick a project. Each different project has different information in it, so it's going to give you different answers about what it sees in your DNA as far as ethnic markers. If you're confused about which one you need to use, GEDmatch can help you with that. Go back up to this blue box, and you want to choose Admixture with Population Search. So this is the menu that's going to pop up then. The example that I have here is for my Caribbean heritage. And so if I want to analyze African Caribbean heritage, All I have to do is type Caribbean into this box, and as you can see, it brings up 3 different admixture utilities that I can use that will be able to analyze that type of heritage and be able to give me a breakdown for what my heritage looks like. So from this page, I can either I can choose one, put in my kit number, and then hit continue, or I can go back to the Admixture heritage menu, choose one of these 3, and then decide on all the other different type of options that I want. There are 2 projects that I like to use. I like the MDLP K23B, and I like the Harappa World. I feel like they give me kind of the broadest, most general look at my ethnicity, which is important to me because I have a really wide array of ethnicity that I'm analyzing. But when you're looking at admixture, you need to be prepared for kind of a reality check. If you're white, European, or both, and you want to look at your admixture, that's exactly what it's going to tell you. It's going to tell you all of the different ways that you're white, all of the different ways that you're European, and if that's true of you for both sides of your family, this admixture thing doesn't help you at all. It tells you what you already know. For people that have a unique ethnic heritage on one or both sides of their family, that's where the admixture starts to be helpful. And for someone like me who has Caribbean heritage in a very small section of my family tree, this is extremely helpful. First off, because as far as I know right now from the research that I've done, my mom doesn't have any African heritage. So I'm able to determine that wherever I see this African heritage, whether it's this dark purple right here that is West African, or this tan color right here that is East African, this is going to be heritage that I received from not only my father's side, but my father's mother's side, so my paternal grandmother. Specifically, I like the chromosome painter option. I've shown you the reduced size one here so I could show it to you all on one image, because the full size chromosome painter, it looks exactly like the one-to-one analysis, but instead of like the base pair colors, you see the ethnicity colors on it. So it goes on for like pages and pages, and it shows you like a larger version of these same colored segments that you see right here. So if you want to see this but bigger, use the full size chromosome painter. So this one that you see right here is the Harappa World project. This next one here is the MDLP. And whereas the previous test or project had like a dozen, maybe like 13 different populations that it tested for, this one tests for 23 different distinct populations. And the thing that you also have to keep in mind is that this ethnicity tracing that you're doing on these chromosomes is for genetic material that, it's not just stuff that has come to you from the past 7 or 8 generations. Some of this information that's in your genetic material is thousands of years old. On the previous slide, there was a lot of this lighter purple color that was Mediterranean. I don't have a way to distinguish, is this material coming to me because it's something from my recent past that I don't know about? Or is it stored in my DNA because, thousands of years ago, I descended from an ancient Roman family? And so something important to keep in mind is not to try to draw conclusions from these ethnicities other than something to point you in the right direction to ask some other research questions. Some people that take genealogy tests, their whole purpose for doing it is to take it to see these admixture results. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want the confirmation whether or not you have Irish heritage or you have German heritage or whatever it is, more power to you. What you need to be careful about is the conclusions that you're drawing from what it is that you see. Just because you're 24% Irish, that doesn't mean that the missing grandparent that you know nothing about is Irish. It also doesn't mean that that's why you have a temper. You can only draw conclusions from this that you can prove. Can you prove those conclusions, like those example conclusions that I just made, that your grandfather has to be Irish because you're 24% Irish. No, it doesn't have to mean that. And so it's very important that we don't use these admixture results to superimpose stereotypes or unproven conclusions upon ourselves, because that stuff is not fact and it's not science. As of right now, a DNA test cannot draw those conclusions for you. And because of that, these admixtures have little to no genealogical value by themselves at all. These are only as useful as you compare them together with other cousin matches that you have and your chromosome information as it relates to other people. That concludes our introduction to genetic genealogy. If you have any other questions or you want to explore any of these topics more in depth, be sure to check out part 1 and part 2. Also be sure to visit with us at youngandsavvygenealogists.blogspot.com. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you again.